on, kiddo. Lovely. Thank you very much.
It's hot, it's hot.
And a big cup. Thank you very much. Check the office, please.
Cheers. Oh, look at that.
So hello, my name's Rob. This is Cat Rabbit Scale. I will just wait for the video feed to go live on my laptop. It's a little bit behind, and then we'll start this a proper. It takes so long now to just kick in. It used to always be here. I don't know what's happened. Maybe it takes a little while for YouTube to kind of do its thing. I'm not too sure. Just without fogging up the lens. Let's just give it a minute while it's a little bit slow these days, just like me. There we go, it live. That's it. We're there. So we're now there. Bear with us. I will just North Star. Hi, how are you? Welcome back. Thanks for popping in again. I really appreciate it. Just there it is. There we are. Okay, I'm there. I can see it. Brilliant. So my name's Rob. This is Cat Rabbit Scale. Welcome to part 2 of the Lion's Guard. For those that are kind of watching from the future, maybe haven't seen the first one, or last few days ago we kind of strolled together and we kit bashed this rather cool Lion's Guard. The idea was that I've got 3 of the Blade Guard, so that came with the Lion, and I was going to do 1 a Dark Angel, 1 a Deathwing, one a Raven Wing. So we actually rolled a dice to pick which body we were going to use, and then we rolled a dice to find out what part of the Legion we were going to do, and we got this body with Dark Angels. So this is the Dark Angel. Chat last time did decide that the Deathwing would be the leader of the squad, the sergeant. So if we do get him, he's going to be a little bit extra special than the regular guys. But this is what we ended up with. Obviously, he's got his little backpack here, which I thought was really cool. I think he turned out really well. I'm super happy with him. Just some subtle kit bashes, some head swap. We pinned an arm. We mucked about with some placements and a few options, and it all just went pretty well, if I'm honest with you. So I was quite chuffed with it. So this is what we ended up with. So let's see what we kind of get today and what we end up doing. The green wing. Ha. I actually don't know what they're called. I just thought they were just. One thing I was reading about was there's a guy, I can't think of his name. Now, I don't watch a lot of lore stuff on Warhammer and bits like that, but Azrael, I was learning about Azrael, and he said that he was part of something in the Dark Angels, but it wasn't like Raven Wing or Deathwing. It was called something else, and I'd never heard of that before, which I thought was super interesting actually. So I'll try and dig out the video and share it. It was really cool, but I just thought that was a nice little tidbit there. So today we've got I've got all my bits down here. I've got big boxes of bits and things all around me ready to go. I'm a little bit more organized today. So what we'll do is we'll get a dice. We can even use the special fuck me dice, which my buddy Josh got me, which is probably something I say way too much than I should at work. So what we'll do is if we roll the dice, we'll do a 1 to 3 for this guy, and we'll do a 4 to 6 for this guy. Obviously a fuck me being a 1. So there we go. So let's find out what we get. Hey, we got a 1. So we're going to be working with this body today, which is cool. He's in a more static pose. He doesn't have a tactical rock. That's fine. We can always raise him up a little bit on some cork or something like that to kind of fit in with my other Dark Angels and stuff like that. Nice simple pose actually. Let's find out who he's going to be. Are we going to be Deathwing, which will obviously be the sergeant, or are we going to be Ravenwing? So are you ready? 1 to 3 for a Deathwing, 4 to 6 for a Ravenwing. So let's see what we get. Obviously once again it's to fuck me. So we have got a 3. So we are doing, this is going to be our Deathwing sergeant today. That's pretty cool. Which means that on the next one we will do the Ravenwing guy, which will be this guy. But for the minute we're going to do Deathwing. Now, I did have some ideas for this guy. Obviously, I've been thinking about this since I did the Dark Angels guy. In actual fact, what I will do, I'll pop him just over here in this top right hand corner, so people can kind of see him if they haven't. He's very cool, actually. I'm pretty chuffed. Let's prop him up with a little dice, shall we? I've got loads of these little dice lying around. There he is. Very nice. Obviously, yes, I've been thinking about it, thinking, oh, you know, I really like, you know, how he turned out. So what can we do with the Deathwing guy? Now, again, for new people or people watching in the future, or maybe up to date with the channel, I don't really adhere to the law. I like doing things that look quite cool. I go by the rule of cool. I always will. I think it you know, I've got a very interesting Dark Angels army because of it, because I do not conform to the norms. I'm not Codex compliant. I'm not, you know, bound by, you know, law accuracy or rules, because I don't play either. So I can kind of build what I want. So I've kind of got that privilege of just doing things that way. So let's have a look at the Dark Angels. Now, the first thing we are going to need is a backpack for our guy. So I am going to unclip that. That's not going to change at all, although we are going to be making some alterations to it. So let's just get this unclipped and trimmed. We do need a where does his gun go? Oh, maybe he doesn't have one. There isn't a space for a holster on this guy. Okay, that's interesting. No, that's fine. I can live with that. Unless it does go somewhere. No, it's little pegs and he doesn't have any. So, okay, cool. I'll take it. Obviously, we did decide to give the sergeant a banner. I was going to give it to the Dark Angels guy, but chat last time was very much like, no, it should go to the sergeant, and that's exactly where it's going. So he is going to get his own banner as well, which is great. Obviously, I like to do a little bit of pinning. If you've never done any pinning before, I'll show you how to do it in this one. I know it's like beating an old dead horse if you've, you know, seen my videos before and stuff like that. However, I do like to go through it because there might be someone that hasn't seen it before. So I will explain pinning, how to do it. It's really, really easy when we come to it. Now, as for like bits wise, now I am not sure what we can really get away with. Let's grab a special little box stuff. Now, just you'll have to bear with me on this guy. One thing I was very, very keen to do was add a bit of flavour from the each division. So obviously, like the Dark Angels look very knightly. You know, he's got his sword out. He's got the hood. He's kind of got like the nice knighted hooded helmet from the new upgrade sprue. You know, the tilt plate with all the purity seals off. He looks very kind of like what I would consider a space knight, if you will. Whereas the Deathwing, I feel that I want to put a little bit more pizzazz into him. Now, obviously, there are a few bits that I can muck about with. Straight away, I think I am going to... Now, I like the idea of using one of the knight helmets from the Terminator Knight set, which may sound like a little bit odd, but I do think it's got a lot of potential. So I think I'll unclip one, and we'll see if we can make that work. I think it will look. That's a normal. That's a Terminator. Let's take out the normal Terminator sprue. We don't need that, although they will be Deathwing eventually. That's the other. Ah, right. So I think what happens with this guy... Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay. So he just has his open out. Okay. Now, I really like the cloth arm. I'm tempted to use that for this guy. I think that would be really, really cool. I do have to find somewhere to put like a gun. Like a holster, because I prefer them all to look like they have one. So that's something that I'll have to tackle in this one. There's the other. Now then, where do you think that could go? Because it looks like it goes on a corner. Okay, well let's just grab that. Where's the other one? There. Now I'm not sure which one's which. I'm a little bit confused which body is which. I didn't make a note of that. I quite like that tilt plate as well, actually. That's quite nice. Let's grab that. Let's cut that off. One thing I like to do before I do most things is I get loads of little bits together. That's always like the start when I kit bash. I find it helps me kind of work out what I am going to use, what I'm not going to use, what can work, what can't work, what I can make work, yada, yada, yada. Any thoughts of doing blood angels? No, wrong types of angels, wrong colour scheme. Absolutely not. Maybe give him a Crux Terminator shoulder. Well, see, I did point that out last time. The Terminator shoulder pads fit perfectly over Blade Guard stuff. Getting back to Blood Angels, no, I like the idea of Blood Angels. I got to admit, I am a bit of a one-man show when it comes to Dark Angels, because they are like, you know, I think Blood Angels are very, very similar to Dark Angels, being like you've got your Death Company and then your Sanguinary Guard, and obviously your normal red ones. Whereas, like, you know, Dark Angels, you've got the bone, you've got the black, you've got the green. So I think it's really preference what you paint in. Personally, I do think the bone and the green colour scheme complements each other amazingly well. It's something that's just kind of like always kind of just captivated me. I love the look of it. I think it's fantastic. It goes so well together. I mean, as for painting tutorials, I guess I could probably do a Blood Angels one. They seem fairly straightforward. I have done some high-end Blood Angel stuff previously, a couple of years ago. It's not really a style I enjoy doing. I much like just painting it and getting it done and watching it grow. Where are we? This one. Now, that is very cool, that shoulder pad there. But I do just have to be careful that I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot by using bits that I will probably need later. Where is my also? Now there's a few options we've got for back banners in was this guy, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. Now that's what it should be. Now that's quite a nice fancy one here. I really, really like that. So I'm going to unclip that one because that'll be for his sword arm. Just there. I really like that tilt plate there. See, this is what I mean. Like this, I like this upgrade sprue, but I do just wish it had more bits of heraldry and iconography like we have here that the Veterans kit has. Maybe because they've decided to carry on doing the Veterans kit, they didn't overload it. But I love stuff like this. I think it really, really just, you know, really helps you just make a miniature look your own, and I'm very much here for it. Let's unclip this tilt plate. I think that might be quite cool. Also, look, some nice feathery bits. I've said this before, you know, and this is the way I've always felt it kind of looked. A lot of people did disagree with me when I did my kit bash video. They were like, no, feathers is nice. So I always thought it had like a Native American Indian feel to it with the big headdresses and stuff like that. Apparently it ruffled a few people's feathers because I said it looked a bit more Native Indian than maybe, you know, they would have liked. But I do believe it is a bit more with the feathers hanging off because it was supposed to symbolize like strength, glory, stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure I remember reading something, or it might have been the manager of my Games Workshop store told me about the influences of early chapters, because like the Ultramarines were the Romans, the Deathwing was like American Indian. There was a few things, and it was really, really interesting. I might be talking out my arse, but I'm pretty sure that's how I remember it. Now, what else do we have here? We do have a very cool, we got a couple of banners. This one's very nice with the kind of, we could do the red, or we could put it on with the nice lines here. It doesn't matter about the top bit because we are going to remove that to add his iron halo. That will be represented on top of his banner. Maybe something with a little bit more movement might be quite nice. I quite like the idea of this one. It's quite simple. So I think let's unclip that bad boy right there. Because like I said, he's definitely got to have a banner. I am tempted to maybe look at, what have we got space-wise on this guy? This right here might fit on his belt. Now, I know the pistol's a little bit smaller. Once again, it's not going to make me lose sleep, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Aside from that, I don't think there's anything else on the Raven Wing sprue we're going to look at. I do like these. I like these quite a lot. These are like I think they were like normally for the groin area they would cover, but they actually go really, really well on backpacks and shoulders. So we could probably actually give him, let's unclip one of these and I'll show you what I mean. I quite like this one with the purity seals. That's pretty snazzy. We do need one of these, which is his right shoulder pad. Very cool. And then let's just look, because size permitting, and I mean size permitting, the old bolters and heavy bolter pistols are similar sizes. Maybe you give one guy one of you. Well, he's going to be holstered. You're not going to see it, so I'm not too worried. As long as it looks like he's got a pistol of some sort, like they all do, you know, I'm pretty okay with that, in all honesty. The knight helmets. Now, I don't necessarily. I've got a few of these. I've got 6 here. How many do you get in the Deathwing Knights, just out of curiosity? There's no more on there. And there's no more on there. Now, my Deathwing Knights, I have all hoods anyway, so these are going spare. So, why don't we just see what a normal one looks like? Because if we can make this work, I think that would be pretty cool looking. The only thing, he is a bit flat underneath, so we're going to need to maybe make a little bit of a, might have to fill him. Now, I don't think that looks too out of place. I mean, does he look like he's got a big head? What do we reckon? I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me start trimming up some bits. We'll have a natter, and then I'll blue tack the head in place, and we can see how it looks. I think that might be quite good. Kalitas, hi, hello, welcome back. Glad that you've joined us for part 2. We haven't done much. I've just started unclipping bits. Don't worry, you haven't missed anything at all. None of the spicy stuff just yet. But I am just going to trim these little sections up. Do we all remember where I told you I'd put the spare shoulders that I would need? Do you remember, chat? I made it very clear that I would forget, and I was going to ask you. I actually know where they are. I found them. I was like, what are those up there? And I've realised what they are. Let's just... What we can probably do is work on his backpack first, because this is going to be his main feature. Obviously, again, I do err on the side of caution when it comes to stuff. I'm a firm believer that sometimes less is more. Or so I tell the wife. And I think sometimes it's really easy just to change the look of a model with just a couple of bits. It doesn't need to be, unless you're drastically, converting to something, you know, just a little bit of flair, I find, much like the Dark Angel Sky, as you can see here, just that little tiny bit of flair sometimes is all you need to completely transform a model, and I really, really like that. Now, what I might have to do here, if I want to use this cool feathery one, I'm going to need to remove that pin and replace it, which isn't a problem. We can do that. And I can also show you how. So let's just neaten the bits up. I always try and prepare the bits. The reason why I do this, even bits that I'm not going to use, is because I will use them eventually, and it's easier to have parts that are already cleaned up that I don't need to muck about with and stuff like that. So really this is just a bit of it saves me time in the future doing bits. So I always try and kind of clean everything up and make sure it's, you know, as easy to use as possible. Right, I know what I'm going to do with those. That's very cool. He's done. I do like this little feathery thing. I don't know what that is. That's cool. See if we can kind of use that. That'd be quite cool. This thing again, I think it's for like the jock strap of the Space Marine for the veterans. However, I'll just show you. Just bear with us. Let me clean them up. It's what we're interested in here is the curvature of this piece. So in actual fact, if you look at a shoulder pad and you can put it there, it actually lines up really, really nicely. I don't know if you can see that. It needs very little work. Even if you want to kind of hang it further down, it kind of matches that curvature quite nicely. We might need to do a little bit of work. We might need to file back some of this rim, but we'll deal with that when we come to it. Obviously, depending on the arm, I would be reluctant to use that if the arms are kind of facing outwards, because we want the cloth to hang down naturally. So that's something to kind of take into consideration and look at for when you're doing stuff like this. This little cool sword, like daggery thing with gun, I think that looked quite cool. We're definitely gonna add in. Let's need much right. I'm hoping this fits just about, and it looks like it does just here. So that will go on his little belt, which is a bit of a relief. That's cool. I might need to just cut some of this away. Again, not the end of the world. Or yeah, no, I think so. Oh no, wait, what a dingbat. He's got a massive thing here, look. There. So he actually has his gun at the front, look. Completely missed that. What a sausage, Rob. What a sausage you've been. It's definitely not that one. Right, so that's the other guy. I'm going to put up there. Cool. Well, that saves it. That means we can use that cool feathery thing. That's nice. So we're not going to use that bit. So I'm going to pop that in my little box. Let's trim this up. Ah, see? What a dingleberry. That's me. Not using instructions. They're there for a reason. But what's everyone working up to on tonight? What's everyone doing? Are they? Are you building? Are you chilling? Are you having a beer? A little brewski. I've got quite a rough cup of tea there from the kiddo. Bless her. She's got her little bestie staying tomorrow. We're going to get rid of our youngest, go off to nanny's again, and then she loves to sleep over, that kid, and have a nanny to herself. But then my eldest is going to have a friend, which is actually my wife's goddaughter. So we lose a kid, we gain a kid, unfortunately. So I would have liked to have done this on Saturday. I would have had a bit more time, but it's going to be Taylor Swift dance parties, I fear. So it's probably better for me to do this today, which is why I've done it. Let's just... One thing I am just still taking into consideration, although I probably won't paint these guys yet, although I was tempted to start this guy earlier today, is definitely making sure that I've got room to work when I come to paint them. Now, just on the back here, that could be quite cool. We don't need to do too much to this because that's going to hide quite a bit. But I wonder if I can get this just in there next to that one. I think that could be quite nice. Yeah, I think so, like that. We can stick that next to it and you can kind of see the feathers poking out. I think that would work. I like the idea of like lots of little pouches and stuff like that around the waist. You know, these guys are obviously like made for battle, and you know, they spend a lot of time on the field. This is probably where he keeps his paracetamols or plasters, or you know, something along them lines. Alka-Seltzer, he's probably got a few in there. I think that would look quite cool. So we'll definitely we're going to keep that bit. We're going to keep that bit. We definitely need that bit. That bit's going to be trimmed up. That bit's a maybe. Let's look at this head. Let's see if it looks out of place. Don't know whether we can get away with this. I'd like to, but I don't know whether it's going to look a bit too goofy. One thing about the knights is, because none of mine have helmets anyway, it's not like he's going to stand out with, you know, looking like he should be in a different. So let me just grab some blue tack. Oh no. Yeah, mate, come on, you get up. Let me just cut some of that away. There we go. I'll have that. Thank you very much. Let's just roll it. Just here. Krieger does Mets. Hi, how are you? Are you having a good Friday evening? It's obviously 7:30 now in the UK here. Times. Let's talk time zones. Where is everyone? Is everyone watching really, really late? Is it? Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think that looks all right. I think we've got a winner. What do you reckon? Chat, you've got to let me know. You've got to be more vocal. Do you reckon that works? Can we get away with that? I think that looks all right, to be fair, with the knight helmet. I think especially with the pose as well, with him looking dead on, I think that's going to work. Do you know what? We're going to keep it. I'm having that. Right. Let's just trim this excess away. I'll show you a cool tip with blue tack, which I can't remember what video it was. 1:33 p.m. North Star, where are you based? Is that America? That way? Colleagues, yes, I like it. Greetings from Glasgow. Oh, nice, Glasgow. Cool. I've got a lot of family up in Stonehaven. You know, like by Edinburgh, Aberdeen way. Should really go and see them soon. It's an absolutely beautiful part of the country. I think probably in later life, if I don't end up buying a house in Japan, or maybe I do, I think we've kind of got our hearts set moving to Scotland. So I've actually got a lot of Scottish heritage. Let me see, you've got the Scottish flag there. I am, you know, so I don't tend to like to talk about myself, but yes, I have a lot of Scottish blood, etc., etc. So yes, I you know, definitely I think it's on the cards. Now I think if we do that now. Blue tack, the reason why I've left that blue tack in there, but I've just trimmed it round, is because blue tack is actually a really versatile hobby product. Not only is it great for just, you know, attaching stuff to see how it looks, as you can kind of see here. I will just kind of pop out, you know, his arm is completely blue tacked on. You know, it kind of gets an idea. You can adjust the pose, see how you want it. You know, has he got his shield up? Has he got it down? You can move it around. But also, if you get a bit of super glue and paint that onto it, that is going to become rock hard, and it is going to act like a filler. So in actual fact, you can use it to fill gaps, and you don't have to move it. See, what we can do is we can actually use the head to impress like a bit of a groove on it. So like here, if I force that right down and then just gently pull it up, we've got a little impression of where the head's going to go. So we know it's always going to line up. And then what you do is you get something really, really cheap like this, which is like a really cheap liquid super glue. What we can actually do is open it up. Oh no, wait, it's not that one. Where's the other one? And you know, like half an hour ago where I said I was really organised. Ah, there it is. See, I knew what I was on about. Sharp. This should have a little brush inside it. And what we can do, I can't remember if this is my knackered one. Yeah, it is. If we just get off any excess, you don't need a lot. And then what we do is we just paint that on there like that. Give it a good old, it kind of semi-absorbs into the blue tack, but that will now be rock hard. And that will feel really easy. And that's it. It's as easy as that. It's all you need to do to fill stuff. I literally have not used green stuff in ages because I honestly don't need to. And that's it. Just wait for that to dry. You can kind of, if you want to, and you want to be really, really quick, if you think you put extra on, get a little bit of tissue and literally just dab it. And that's it. That's all there is to it. That is going to be rock hard now. And in about a couple of minutes, job done. So that's the first part done. We've decided on a head, which is very, very cool. Now, let's have a look at this. Now, what I'm going to do here, the first thing I am going to do is the part we want to use, obviously, it's got the cool kind of broken sword and the feathers on. Great, but we need to get rid of this. So I'm just going to really, really gently slide my knife in and take off this little tab. And then what I'm going to do, just making sure that I'm not kind of getting away any of that detail. We're just going to smooth it over. We won't need the file for this or anything like that. If it does look a little bit rough, don't worry, you're not going to see it. Just like that. Now, we need to know where the position is on this. So what we can actually do is we can repeat this, what we've just done. If we just get our knife and then I'm just going to really gently wiggle it. Now, obviously, be careful when you're doing stuff like this because, you know, it slip and job done. And I don't know whether you can see just here, I've got a lovely scar on my finger where I slipped with a knife before. I cut my finger off and now I've got absolutely no feeling in this finger whatsoever. So, you know, be careful. And I find just gently pushing just like that. Give it a little wiggle, push it really gently, job done. What we're looking for is a really, really clean cut. And there it is, just there. Now, there's two things we need to do. We need to make sure it's the right way up because we actually want to glue this in place right now because we want a little flat section to kind of, you know, attach our tilt plate to. That's how we're looking. And then what we're actually going to do, we can actually glue that to the thing straight away with actually no problems. So we're not actually going to glue it to this, we're going to glue it in place. And then we're just going to glue the tilt plate to this when we're ready to do so. So let me just grab my super glue fin. And we're just going to stick that in there. And then same again. Just going to make sure it's the right way up, which is, I believe, that way. And I'm just going to push it in here like this. And then job done. And then we've got a lovely flat bit of kind of plastic when we're ready to just attach our actual tilt plate to, which is great. That's going to work. So that's the first hurdle done, which is cool. This is pretty much dry now. as he's not sticking to anything, which is great. So that's also done. I'm not going to attach the head. Obviously, I'd rather keep him off to kind of, but as you can see, he will just sit in there quite nicely in that indentation we already made. So there we go. Beautiful. Good little hobby tip there for you. So that's solved. We can put that away now. Let's have a look at we know what we're doing there. We know what we're doing with that. Let's have a look at the backpack. Now, when it comes to stuff like this, it is a lot easier than what you might think. So if you've never pinned anything before, don't worry. It's easy. It's easy because I can do it, and that's what I always tell people. So what I want to do is I definitely want to preserve his iron halo. I think that's a must, just purely because it's quite, I think, like symbolic of the blade guard. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to nip it off really, really close to the plastic. We want to keep this as neat as possible, this part. So, you know, take your time if it's your first time doing it. And what we want to do is, you can see there's a little bit of a pin here. What's my favorite model that I've made? That's a good one. I don't know. I think what is my favorite one? I liked my Kitbash veterans. I got to admit, I love I think the veterans are such good models. I do like I liked my Dreadnought. I very much enjoyed doing that. I like my Kitbash Deathwing Terminator Captain. I do like my Terminators, but I do think now I've had a chance to sit down and work with them and look at them, I would probably definitely do things different because I think I could do it better. You know, I've kind of, I got to those points where I was like, I don't quite know how to do stuff like this, or vice versa. And I think now that I've developed by doing more and more kit bashing, you know, over the years, I say that they were only last year, blimey, it feels like ages ago. I definitely think that I could do something else. To be fair, I've got a load of Terminators in a box next to me, so who knows, I might do another 5. I might do a 2.0 version. But I think my veterans, the veterans just seem to be really, I think, as well as they were really, really well received, like a lot of people liked that video and had very nice things to say about it. I enjoyed it a lot, and I do try again, you know, seeing it from a point of view where I just kind of do stuff because I think it's quite fun. It was really fun for me, and it was nice that so many people said such nice things about them, because it was like, oh, you know, they're my Dark Angels, they're unique to me. And that's once again why I love kit bashing so much. I think there's almost like a beauty in it when you see an army that's, you know, incredibly unique, and I like that. So, you know, right, so what I've done is I've cut the iron halo off. I am just going to grab a file, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure this is dead flat. So I'm just going to really, really gently take any flashing off, because we need that little pin just here to be intact. I don't know whether you guys can see that. I'm hoping you can. About there, there's a little pin just here. So we just want to make sure that's flat because we need it to sit against our banner. Now, I am a sucker for trying to keep things, as you know, and I definitely want to try and keep this little bit of iconography. So what I am going to do is I'm just going to really gently, just going to take this little bit of flashing off that I've missed. I'm just going to, because I need it to be dead flat, using the tip of the blade, I'm just going to wiggle it. No, I don't know whether I don't know whether I can actually save that, because the part of the sword comes down further. So we might have to use a little bit of brute force on this one, which is a bit of a shame, as I would like to keep it. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a little bit higher than what I normally would. There we go. I think we just nipped the end of it, so it could be usable on something like a backpack later on, but you know what, I'll take it. And then same again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that I trim this bit of flashing off dead level like this. And then same again, I'm going to come in with the file and just making sure it's flat. I'm just going to file that bit down. Just use a little circular motion. You don't need to take loads off. We're not trying to reshape it or anything like that. We just need to make sure it's flat. So there we go. I'm just going to take that bit off there as well, though, because that looks like it was part of the sword. And although we're not going to use it, or you're not really going to notice it too much, I know it's there. And there we go. Same again. I'm just going to... It doesn't look slightly curved to me, so let's just make sure this is flat as well. All right, I'll take it. Nice. So pinning. Now pinning is super duper easy. I've done it a lot. If I can do it, you can 100% do it. There are things you will need: some super glue thin, some super glue, a pin drill, and a paper clip. Now the paper clip should be the exact same size as your drill bit. I'm using a 1mm drill bit, so these are 1mm thick paper clips. I steal them from work. So what we're going to do first is I'm just going to nip a little bit off. Now, with a quick mouthful of tea, bear with. Oh, that's bloody lovely. Right. So we've got 3 bits that we need to join. We need to join the iron halo to the top of the banner, and then we need to join the banner to the backpack. I use the banner for my converted outrider. So there is one in there that on the Raven wing. I think there's some really cool dangly bits, which I think, and I have got an idea brewing in my head, Carlitos, of a really cool idea for the Raven wing. I've got a really good idea for the Raven wing guy, which we will do last. In actual fact, I kind of deep down I wanted to do him tonight, because this idea, I've kind of got it brewing and I'm like, it's ridiculous. I love it. And as you know, I like my Space Marines with a sprinkling of ridiculousness. But I'm glad we've saved him till last, so we can go out with this little kind of 3-part kit bashing video with a bang, because I think he's going to be really cool. What's the origin of your channel name? So Cat or Rabbit Scale Model Studio. When I first moved out into the big wide world many years ago, I had a house rabbit. And I've always kept rabbits since a very early age. They're one of my favourite animals. Up there with the otter, the pangolin, and I always kept them. Well, when I met my wife, she always wanted a house cat. I grew up with cats. At one point, my mum had 4 cats. So it's just something that, you know, is just, you know, we always had cats. I got to admit, I'm a bit rubbish at social media. Sometimes it's a bit head scratching, like especially on Instagram, how 20,000 people have kind of been like, oh, I really like your stuff, because I don't ask for follows. I very rarely advertise myself. Maybe if I'm near like a milestone, like at the moment, I'm just about to hit 7,000 on YouTube, which is a really lovely achievement. But I stopped doing it because, especially lately, I found that I would be like, oh, you know, it'd be really nice if I could hit this milestone, people would just unfollow you, and it's like, okay, well, maybe I'll go fuck myself. Thanks for all the help. So I just don't do it. And getting back to it, my wife wanted a cat, so I was kind of like, well, you want a cat, I don't want a cat, so we compromised and we got a cat. That was it. That's it, and it was one of the things that we had a little kind of like flat apartment together, and one day she was nagging me to set up Instagram, and I mean, I barely use Facebook. If it wasn't for pictures of the kids, I wouldn't use Facebook. And then obviously I have my own Kettle Rabbit Scale Audio Studio Facebook group. I'm on Facebook as well. Group. I do try and check in with people. I don't post anything on it. If it wasn't for the feature where you can share it direct to Facebook, it would never get updated. But she was nagging me about kind of getting Instagram, and so I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. So I was just kind of, one day I'm just doing my thing, and she's like, oh, come on, let's set up this Instagram. I was like, okay, fine. I think I was doing something at the time, and she was asking me all these bloody questions, and like I'm not a big personal. Even now at the bank, I go to the bank, I want to speak to a cashier. I don't want to use a machine. I'm a bit old fashioned like that. I think in that sense, I kind of show my age. I'm 39. So, I was just grown up always kind of speaking to people. I worked in the building industry for, blimey, 18 years, ground maintenance. You learn to speak to people when you want to speak to someone face to face. Guess I'm a little bit dated and old school like that, if you will. So anyway, she's asking me all these questions, and I've completely just stopped listening, and she was like, well, do you want something to do with cats or rabbits? And I just kind of went, yeah. And she thought she was so funny, so she put down cat or rabbit. And that was it. That's how it became cat or rabbit. We do have 3 cats now. Unfortunately, I don't have any house rabbits anymore. We did have a couple of guinea pigs up until last year, where we lost our last one, which were very, very sweet little animals. But now I've got kids, it's harder and harder. I think definitely in later life, I'm going to buy a couple of Flemish giants and never talk to anyone again. Be like a recluse somewhere. But that's how the name and the monkey ear, if you will, happened. It was my wife going, oh, what do you want, something to do with a cat or a rabbit? And I just went, yeah. And that's how the name kind of thing, and just stuck. So, and it's only when I started doing Warhammer that I thought, oh, I really like these, and I painted these little Liberator guys. And she was like, you should do on your Instagram. And I kind of thought, yeah, okay, I will. So I put up pictures, and everyone seemed to like it, and now I just post pictures on Instagram with, that's it. And that's how it happened. So it's not a great story. It's really an effective of how shitty I am as a human being, that I actually don't listen to people when there's something that I really don't want to do, happening around me. So I was just like, no. So it's, it's what it is. It's just, yeah, not the most interesting. And as you can kind of see, I'm not so great at talking about myself. I'm quite private in that sense. I do try and be a bit more, like I do say to my wife often, I'm like, why did we need to know that? And she always says, people like to know about people because it humanizes them a bit more. Like, I guess to a lot of people, I'm just a pair of hands, really. Don't knock yourself. No, not like that, but like, I don't get me wrong. I'm aware of my own shortcomings. I'm well aware that as soon as, there's something that I don't want to do, minimal effort is applied, because I'm very much, I'd rather just be at home in my slippers, unless I'm pissed out of my face in a gutter somewhere with cigarettes hanging out of my nostrils. That's it. It's polar opposites. You know, it's getting me to go out and then getting me to come home. Two very different things. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Right, the pins. I've got these pins. Sorry, I'm going to just quickly stop in here and do this mood. You know it. I'm just going to now. The reason why I do two types of things, what I am going to do, I'm going to get this pin here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop some super glue just in this end here, and I am going to just jab it in there. The only thing we need to make sure at the moment is this is dead straight. Now I've done this quite a few times, so I know that that pin is in line. It could be a little bit wonky there, so all we're going to do, we're just going to push it so it's dead straight. There we go. Don't worry, because you know, very rarely do backpacks sit dead straight, so we've kind of got a little bit of a wiggle room. I am just going to remove some of that excess super glue that's bulged out. Now what we need to do, obviously we're going to have this going this way. I did drill in quite a bit, so again I'm going to nip the pin down now. We get a little bit of play with it. I'm just going to start taking little bits off at a time. These do kind of shoot off, or can do, so do be a bit careful. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that the pin obviously doesn't show. As you can see there, we've still got some gaps, so I know that I need to nip down a little bit more. Nip down, check it. Nip down, check it. Why? Because you can take off, you can't put back on. If you cut your pin too short, you're kind of stuck. We just need a little fraction more. So we're just going to take a tiniest bit off. So there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick some super glue on this. Again, we've got a little bit on there. Then with super glue thin, I'm going to paint where it actually goes on the plastic. So not only have we got the pin glued to each other, we also have the plastic glue gluing plastic to plastic. It's going to give us a really strong bond. And then all we're going to do is, might be a bit too much on there. Let's just wipe some of that off. It'll just look like a weld, don't worry. We're just going to stick that there like that. Again, the only thing we need to do is make sure, as you can see here, I'm a little bit out. We just got to twist it. Like that, so it is dead straight. A good way of doing this sometimes is you can actually put it flat like this and then push your backpack down. Obviously, because the backpack is always designed flat, it will always kind of, you know, be flat, if that makes sense. I hope it does. But that's basically how we pin stuff. I'm recluse, I'm still at home. Disabled dad, I picked up from orders to try and get back to some sanity. Just taught me a lot, giving me even more ideas when it comes to kitbashing. No, actually, you've more work. It's really kind of you to say. Obviously, I two young girls, although I'm a lot more, I guess, always quite active. I always have been quite an active person. I've never really felt my age, in all honesty, apart from this year where I've suffered with one of my knees. One thing I see a lot of, and I don't watch a lot of hobby stuff on YouTube. I know I'm not. One thing I never tried to be is like one of these, and I hate this word, influencer-y, creator-y type people. I'm just going, I've done this, I thought it was quite cool, let me show you guys. That's it. That's what I'm in it for. And I always think that as long as one person has watched my videos, it's done its job. If it's just one person goes, I'd love to have a crack at that, or oh, I like how he's done that, or I could do that better, then the video's done its job. That's what I like. I would rather have this, because I'm small enough as a channel to not have to do this religiously. You know, I don't have to have an upload schedule or anything like that. I can just do stuff when I want, as I want, and take time out just to chat to my community, people like North Stars, quite a few videos. Carlitos was in the last couple. You know, you see these names pop up and you go, it's like just sitting down, hanging out with your mates, and you know, they've been along the journey with you, helping you, you know, with your kit bashing. I'm doing this anyway, I might as well turn the camera on and just chat away. But one thing I do find, just getting back to why I don't watch a lot of hobby videos, and I don't begrudge people doing it at all in the slightest. When you see these videos where it goes, like I painted a 2,000 point army in 5 minutes, and I think that's fantastic, and it's a great skill to have. I'm not a big batch painter. I'm not a big speed painter. I do try and do methods that cut down on time for people. I believe that helps. But also, I find that I'm aware of what I get out of a hobby. And I think a lot of people maybe aren't. And that's why they flick between projects. They never know what army to do. They buy up everything because everything seems cool to them when they think about it. But I'm a dad, much like yourself. You know, 2 young girls, they do a lot of dance. You know, I got a great set of mates. You know, Saturdays for the boys. You know, I'll always go out for a beer. But what I get out of the hobby is just having the joy of making something and painting it. So why would I want to rush that? Why would I want to hasten that? I don't have a lot of extra income to kind of buy on models and stuff like that. I'm very lucky to be part of the Warhammer community insider team, so I do get stuff sent to me, which is great. It helps out a hell of a lot, and it's quite nice sometimes because it's not stuff I would normally have bought for myself, but it falls on your lap and you go, actually, I really like that. Like I've got one of those Maelstrom Gene Stealer things just here. Again, I probably wouldn't have purchased these for myself, or at least not right away, but it was great fun painting something like this. It was, you know, really cool. But I saviour what I do. I think it's, you know, it, to me, this is my therapy. So it's definitely something I really look forward to. So, you know, it's definitely just knowing that someone has popped on and been like, I love your stuff. It wanted me. It was a reason why I even just did a head swap is absolutely just magic and will give me sustenance and motivation to carry on doing this for like another year just because someone said something nice about it. And I think it works, and that's definitely what it is. I'm more interested about building a really lovely community around me of regulars than, you know, just people that just want subscribers and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe I've got a bit of a skewed outlook because I'm not here for that. I know a lot of people are. That's fine. They want to grow. Growth is good, you know. But I think I'm quite comfortable where I am. It does grow. It grows quite nicely. But I'd rather have this. I think it's much more enjoyable. Dynamite 143. Hello, how's it going? I am happy to be able to be in a live. Been watching your videos for a long time. Really like your work, especially since it's mostly Dark Angels, which I'm a huge fan of. Then you've come to the right place. This is so. I'll give a little recap for those that maybe skipped forward. We are an hour in now. I need to actually do some stuff. Last week, obviously, I've got some blade. I've got the Lion's Guard. What I decided I would do, I'd take the 3 bodies. I actually don't know what I've done with the other one. Oh my God. Can anyone see an odd? Oh, right, he's here. You know, we got the 3 bodies. We rolled a dice, which one we picked out. And because it's, you know, the 3 parts of the Dark Angels, I decided to make one a Dark Angels, one a Deathwing, one a Raven Wing. So they're going to be 3, you know, different guys. Today, I think it was like 3-4 days ago, we did this body and we rolled on the Dark Angels. So we kitbashed this guy, which was great. And then chat did decide quite aggressively, if I remember correctly, that the Deathwing was going to be the Sergeant. So we rolled on the Sergeant and this body today. So we're actually building our Deathwing Sergeant, which is great. So no, you're very more welcome. Thank you very much for the kind words. I love it. I think it's great. I love the Dark Angels. I'll always tell people why. They're a blank canvas. They're so secretive. You can build your own stuff and no one will be able to either prove or disprove that they don't have that because they're so secretive. If you want an army of pink Dark Angels, paint them pink. Because do you know what? You could say, no, it's a secret of the rock. And no one would be able to kind of go, well, actually, it's not. How do you know it's a secret? They're a fantastic blank canvas for hobbyists, people that like Space Marines. I love Space Marines. I don't care what anyone says. I think they're a great faction. They're just ridiculous. They're great. Dark Angels, absolutely the best Legion there is. So 100%. It's about the love of it. And next time I crack one open, cheers. Absolutely, Max. You've got it. I got to admit, I don't drink at home, but I do get a bit naughty with the beer, especially out on a like Friday or Saturday night. The problem is I don't really have a limit. So if I get comfortable, that's it. I'm there all night. I do like a cigarette as well. Once again, quite naughty. I'll do 20 in a night. Blimey, it's awful. So, but then on tonight, I've got my slippers on. I've got a nice cup of tea. You know, it's absolutely pure bliss. You know, it's, you know, you would never think it's the same person, but you know, what I am going to do quickly, I am going to repeat the steps. Obviously, on this one, we do need to be a little bit more careful because we don't have much room to play with, so we can't go all the way through with the drill unless you want to, and then you can just nip it off. It's entirely up to you, but we're just now going to repeat the process. Same again. I'm just going to aim for the middle of the post, just here. Just push your blade in, give it a little twist to start it off. You can just, if you feel that you're off at slightly center, you can just kind of wiggle it. I'm going to drill this hole first, and then we're going to repeat the same process on that. They look very awesome, and also you got more into them as well. Now I want to do every company of them. So I what I did was with mine, and I think you might have seen it on my company heroes. Again, do you know what? That's a good. Getting back to North Star's question, that was a good Kitbash. That ancient nearly absolutely ruined me because that bloody stupid fine cast stuff is a nightmare to work with. But what I did was I actually decided that I would do different company markings, almost like they've been seconded to my fifth company. So the captain actually has third company markings, but he also has the fifth company markings, almost like he's an honorary guy, which, you know, again, lets me get around a lot of stuff because I can just kind of do what I want. And people could either, one, make their own stories up about that, or you can make your own narrative beats up about that. And I found that that type of stuff really helped me creatively with my Dark Angels, because I could just add this stuff in. And again, nobody needs to, you know, you can't question it. It's the Dark Angels. They're so bloody secretive. Again, you will never know. But yeah, that's what I started doing with my company heroes. Again, if you haven't picked that up, that's a great box. Although it is very static what you can build, I think the company heroes is great value, especially in 10th edition where you have to attach stuff to your or can to your units and stuff like that. That is a really, really good box to have. So with this, because it's such a thin part that I'm, you know, drilling into, you will see me stop quite regularly to check the depth. We don't need to go all the way in, but it definitely helps just to kind of check. Again, if you drill through it, you're knackered, but if you constantly keep checking, you'll save yourself some aggravation a little bit later. So do just make sure that you do constantly check. I think I'm fine there. If you're not sure, you can get your little bit of paper clip or pin or whatever you're using. Some people use like brass rod and that. You can kind of push it in to see how you're going, pull it out and check. I'd like a little bit more, so I think a little bit more is what I'm going to do. Again, these don't really get handled much, these guys, but it's nice to know that it's done properly. And I can also show you guys. Do you have the banner for the Deathwing Champion? Painting that, wasn't it? Is that the one with like the woman laying down and it looks like there's a volcano in the background? Is it that one you're thinking of? Right, that's definitely fine now. Right, so what I did was, oh, bear with. Let me just grab the shelf. Let me just give them again a quick dust. I'm always, I said this last time, I'm always leaving my cabinet door open on my Dark Angels. It's so dusty. It's fine because they're on desert bases. So I got hold of the Augustus Lieutenant kit, and this is when I first started doing Dark Angels. It was in a box. A lot of what I got in here was my buddy Jim gave me loads of bits, and it was like the inspiration to start like Kitbash in. And I saw the banner, I was like, well, I don't really know much about them, so I'm just going to stick it on there because I thought it looked, when you look at old White Dwarf magazines, and you got to remember, like I've been doing this hobby, it would be seven years in January. I thought it was cool because they always had big back banners, and I know they were made of paper a lot of the time and stuff like that, but I kind of really just wanted to replicate that. So I stuck it on. Oh my God, the amount of people that were like, no, that's definitely exclusive, you can't do that. And I just thought, oh, shut up, whatever. But I really, really like how this guy turned out. Not only is the Lieutenant model a super, super nice model, you know, I was just really chuffed with how it just all went, you know, all the folds, all the cloth, you know, it was just a joy to paint. It was, you know, it was great. Again, I've said before about like Dark Angels, they're like soup. They're like a comfort thing that I know that, like, you know, one day when I'm sitting here and I think I don't really know what to do with myself, I just grab a Dark Angels and I'll just start painting. And I just plop him down on a shelf and I watch that little pile of models eventually expand into a whole shelf, and now I need another shelf. That's why I love them. Absolutely love them. Where did I put that little tiny pin? Did anyone see? Oh, there it is. So I picked it up and converted them for my white scars. I didn't have a good replacement for the banner, so I took a bunch of parts from affections and chained them to the banner as. So if you see, I like that. A lot of the Ravenwing stuff has stuff like that I'm tempted to kind of just stick to it. I do find that more and more I start looking at Black Templar stuff because it works so well with Dark Angels, especially if you're going like more the knightly side of things. I Collatus love a banner. I love a back banner. I love an ancient. All my dreadnoughts have banners. And the reason why, do you know when you look at like the actual artwork for Warhammer and you see all them legions and there's so many banners kind of like hoisted and lifted up, and then when you get to like your actual games, there's one. You know, and it just doesn't translate well for me. So one thing that I really, really wanted to do when I started doing this, I was like, no, at least like, you know, every fifth miniature is gonna have a banner. I don't care. You know, it's my bloody army. I'm gonna do it how I want. And if you look at eye level on the shelf, I'll try and put up a picture on my community thing tomorrow when it's like daylight in here and you can see. But you can just see, like, you know, all these different kind of with the poses and the swords and the guns and stuff like that. But you can just see all these banners, and I love it because it's starting to look like proper artwork, and I'm very much here for it. I love that. It's just what I wanted, and it's just, yeah, it's just working so well. I'm really, really chuffed, actually. And I like painting a banner. I like sitting there going, right, well, I've done this one. You know, what can we do color wise? And I just think there's so much you can do with them, especially if you're, you know, you like freehanding, or, you know, I mean, I don't know whether you see my video on how to cheat at freehanding. You can actually print stuff out, trace it, turn it over, color in the back with pencil, put it over the piece you want, reline it, and it will actually imprint the graphite onto the plastic, and then you can just paint over it. So you can actually do like freehand stencils and stuff like that. So it's definitely, you know, it's just, there's a lot you can do with a banner. I am tempted one day to sit down with as blank as possible banner and maybe like try and paint some of the artwork on it or something like that. Yeah, that's the best way of doing it. Same with cloaks. Use your decals for cloaks. Just poke them into the foe. No one knows. It only has to look right by eye, is what I always say. Because one, you're normally going to be seeing your models from, up above, or from 3 feet away. So you don't need to do too much to them, but it's definitely a good way of doing it. Especially now we've got the upgrade one, and I can't remember who pointed it out to me. The companions have different upgrade sprues. So if you're after even more Dark Angels upgrade goodness, the companions have a different Dark Angels set of transfers, which I thought was awesome. They also have some successor chapters on there too, which is very cool. This isn't going so well, this. So what I might have to do, because that little bit is, let's just really push that in there and then straighten up. Shouldn't be too bad, but we have, I don't think that piece I was drilling through was actually, what I might have to do is drill all the way through this. I'll show you what I mean. Right, what I'm going to do is we're just going to drill all the way through. Try not to bend any of the ends of these as I handle it, so I'm trying to hold it this way, but by holding it that way I can't actually see what I'm doing. So let's just, right, see here how I've come out the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that that is all the way, and that is nice, and I'm going to put my hobby knife in there just to like that. Now we are going to repeat the process. We don't need to worry too much about this because it's going to sit all the way through, but obviously we don't want it to be so big that it points out, although that's quite nice like that, isn't it? Wow. Happy accident. That could be kind of cool. I think we'll get it away. I'll be honest with you, I've been pretty good at not buying stuff this year, just purely because I mean the cost of bloody living at the moment is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how they expect people to just have a little slice of something they enjoy. I know Warhammer can be a bit expensive and stuff like that, but I do sit there and I think, let people have their escapes, for their health, for their little slice of pleasure. Why you tax the absolute arse end of all of us? How about just giving them something for them to enjoy? But yes, they are expensive, but they are very cool looking. So again, we're just going to push that into the middle, this iron halo. And before this dries, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to just put my nippers in there. I'm going to hold it level with the plastic. Oh no, come on. There you go. Put it there. And then I'm just going to make sure that it's in place. We don't want this leaning forward. We certainly don't want it leaning back. It's already tall enough. And there we go. That is the banner complete. What I can do, once this is dry, I can actually run a file in there. So if we, I don't know if you can see that, if we haven't missed the, well, I was thinking that maybe we could rest something in there as he's a sergeant. But I'll be honest, I don't think I've got any. I had sprues and sprues. Now, if they are going to be anywhere, they'll be on the shelf. However, I would like the one where it's the half head, but I think I've only got the ones I've had these a while, and I would only consider using a human one because we ain't no filthy Xenos. That might be an option if I can find one, but I don't think I've got any. So I think we might have to push a pin in that one for the minute. I think in actual fact, a skull kind of sitting in there, hanging off, I think would actually look pretty cool. I just don't have any, so maybe I'll have to add that in a little bit later. unless I manage to find one somewhere, which I'll be honest with you, I don't think I will, but we might be able to. So that's how he's going to look with his banner, which I think is pretty cool. Obviously, he'll be quite imposing because obviously he'll also have his cool helmet. You know, he's gonna be very knightly, which I think is great. He's got that. This needs to be attached, so let's do that now. In actual fact, should I attach that now? Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's make it harder for myself later. Let's just pop these just here. And then what we'll do is we're just going to line it up next to this one. Just like that. And then it will just put the gun on to make sure that it doesn't interfere with anything. It doesn't. If anything, it actually fits quite nicely next to it. As you can see there. So he's got the extra little thing with the feather. That's kind of cool. We do. Oh, do you know what I haven't done to make sure that that doesn't interfere? Oh no, it'd be all right. It'll kind of look like it's lapping over it, which is quite nice. I'll take it. That'll do. Probably could have filed that down actually a little bit so it sits a little bit flatter, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be that noticeable. We want feathers. I want feathers anyway. Right, and then it's just the arms. Now I am tempted again, as I said, is I want to give him the one where he's polishing his sword. No innuendo needed, which is this one. And it's then that one. So let's unclip these. Just purely because, like we were just talking about, well, brain fart, that's completely gone. Sorry, I started reading the chat. Oh, that's it, decals. I'm going to put a decal on there because I like the idea that they've got like Dark Angels embroidered towels and flannels. I think that's quite cute. So that's another thing. That's 100% happening. Do you ever make copies of bits? I've just started using cheaply. So I was, I tell you, a really, really good channel. Look at a guy called Adam's Hobby Workshop, Adam's Hobby Stuff. I have shared his channel before. He's a really lovely guy. I haven't really spoken to him. I do watch his stuff when I kind of see it. And he's just done one on blue stuff because he makes loads of copy. He does a lot of Nurgle stuff. Really, really lovely bits. So check him out. But I am tempted. There's something about working with plastic that is just very enjoyable, you know, where it's a material. I did say, like in my last video, like green stuff it's a bit of an acquired taste. Not everyone likes to do it. And until I'm confident with teaching a method where I can go, this is exactly what you do, don't worry, I tend to not do stuff because I don't want to ill-advise people and not have the answers. So I've always stayed away from green stuff and 3D printing stuff. One, I don't 3D print. My buddy Josh, he 3D prints. He does really, really lovely stuff. But I think until I'm ready to go, right, let's have a good look at this, that's when I'll, you know, really kind of look into it. Blue stuff does seem quite easy to do. Is that something you do, Max? Have you, like, is that what you've kind of done in the past? Is it easy to use? Is it quite, like, you know, is it worth it? Like, is it good? Like, how does it hold up? Like, I think a lot of people, like, especially when they talk about 3D printing and like all their edges are rounded and stuff like that, and you think, ugh. well, you know, I do, or like the parts are really brittle and you can't really work with them again, and you're like, oh yeah, you know, I don't think this is the future quite yet. Some are really, really good. Some I've seen and I'm just like a bit like, oh yeah, that's good. That's good. You know, not to sound like a bit dicky, but again, you know, until I'm ready to sit down and really kind of look into these methods myself, I rely on other people and what I see. And I think sometimes it just doesn't look quite up to snuff, if you will. So there he is with his cloth. Ah, yeah, look at that. I love it. I like the way the cloth's all hanging down on this one because of we've used this body. I'm a big fan. I like it. Okay, cool. What I am going to do, though, now, like what I did last time, I am going to grab my blue tack, which I think my daughter has stolen or might be in her room. And then what we'll do is we'll quickly pop them together and we'll have a look at number 2. And we'll take it from there. Only small pieces. See, I'm tempted to. Things like on the Raven Wing upgrade sprue, there's some bits that are completely flat that are obviously designed for going on like chassis of tanks and stuff like that. I don't think you can get the Raven Wing upgrade sprue anymore, so I have to be really careful with this stuff. So if I can make good moulds with it, I think it's something definitely I'm going to have to look into before the end of the year, because my end of year project, I'd like to do a big tank for my Dark Angels, and I want a lot of iconography on it. So rather than pay for the arse on eBay or for individual bits, which end up costing a fortune, I would like to. I'd like to have, you know, some actual bits. So I think it's definitely. I think I might have to. I might better do silicon and resin mold for bigger. We'll try that when I get extra money. I had a guy that used to do molds and stuff like that with silicon. And I think this is probably one of the things that did put me off. He was always kind of banging on about it, but when I eventually agreed to let him do some stuff for me, I couldn't use it because it was awful. Like there were air bubbles in it. It was just crap. You know, half of them didn't even come out, so you lost half of the stuff. You know, I think it was something silly like mushrooms or something originally, and it just weren't great. You know, I think when you do it well, it's great, but when it goes wrong, I think there's a lot that can go wrong. It almost becomes like a hobby within a hobby, if that makes sense. You know, it's a lot of time investment, and again, especially when things go wrong. You know, I was talking about this the other day. I really enjoy making sushi, but every time I make sushi, it costs me about £4 because you have to then include your rice, your seaweed, your sea salt, your sugars, your rice wine vinegar. Whether that batch is good or bad, you've still invested in that, you know, and every time you do it, it's all those individual parts that go into it. Whereas I think this is very simple. Bear with me 2 seconds, chat. I'm just going to run into another room and try and find my blue tank. Okay, so it doesn't look like I'll be getting that back anytime soon. So let's have a super quick scout around in here because I might have some more knocking about. Oh, see, kids, you lend them stuff, you never get it back. Wow. Let's just grab this lot here. Sorry, Mr. Spider. He's going to be for a Trogoff thing. I've got 2, you know, and my oldest is, you know, in secondary school now and stuff like that. But my God, the demands of stuff. The other day it was a portable printer for her phone. Why? What do you need this for? It's, you know, it's whatever. I know I was seeing how to make a lot of eyes, but I agree it became a rabbit hole. I think so. Just doing coffee bits. So that's exactly it. Again, getting back to like it's a hobby within a hobby, if that makes sense. It's like 3D printing. There's so much that can go wrong. You know, my mate Ems from Dark and Wings, my buddy Josh. You know, it's fine when it all runs fine, but when there's a problem like the nozzle or the silicone or, you know, whatever, or the print's failed just because it wants to, like it becomes, you know, you're not getting those materials back. So it's definitely like, I think it's going to have to be something where maybe we're a bit more comfortable, financially wise, but you know, to kind of have this stuff to invest. It's not only just it's easy going, I'm getting a 3D printer, but it's not just getting a 3D printer, because you have to learn about it. It's not only, you know, a bit of a financial kind of investment, it's a time investment as well, isn't it? And that's why I do stay away from stuff, especially in my videos, when it comes to bits like that. I do wish more people would kind of see that. It's all well and good going, you know, I put your Kitbash videos and people are like, oh, you know, you can 3D print. And I'm like, yeah, I can. But one, I need to make sure that the, you know, the prints are up to snuff, you know, because I'm painting these. I then need to make sure that, you know, other people can readily get hold of this stuff as well, and that, you know, it's achievable. There's no point me doing, we had this conversation the other day about videos where, like, you know, I know certain channels make their market by going through the rules and stuff like that, and I don't really play, but also the problem with doing things like that is it's time. You watch a video for, you know, an hour, 2 hours or something like that, and then within about a month they've FAQ'd it, and that whole video you've wasted 2 hours watching because that rule is no longer viable, or they've FAQ'd it or whatever. And what that becomes is a waste of your time. It becomes a waste of that creator's time. It's great. That's why videos like rule ones, it's all well and good leading to the build up of a product, but after that, that's when it becomes, people aren't really going to watch an outdated rule video, are they? Whereas like things like a Kitbash, stuff that you do here is going to be relevant for, I guess, like quite a long while. That's always my kind of, you know, I guess, ideology about it. Now I think we might have encountered a little bit of a problem here with this tilt plate. Let's just pop that there like that. No poop. So once again, the other reason why I like to use blue tack to check stuff is for exactly this type of thing, is making sure everything looks as it should, lines up as it should, and kind of like doesn't look out of place. It's all well and good me wanting these feathers, but I think I might have to remove them, which is a bit of a shame, because by the time I put the arms on, that's going to sit quite high. So we might have to remove those. We'll leave it for the minute, because again, I can take off, I can't put back on. We'll see. I'll see, there's his, that'll be his shoulder pad there. This will be his shoulder pad here. That will be his little helmet. Fantastic. And then that will be his backpack there. So there he is. That is how he will kind of look. Obviously, you do need to excuse that the head is a little bit loose. I'm not going to glue that into place. Oh God, it's all falling apart. Yes, again, you know, that's, you know, we spoke about this on the last one, and that's why I don't do it. Like, yeah, I just find it changes too much. I don't have time to constantly read all these rules and FAQs and things. I don't know, honestly, don't know how people keep up with it all, if I'm completely honest with you. You know, it asks a lot of investment of your own time, and unfortunately, I don't have it to give, and that is the truth of the matter. I just don't have it to give. Um, I would rather just paint. You know, I learn about stuff when I need to. Very rarely do I need to learn about rules and stuff like that. And I just kind of have fun doing what I do. Again, it's very liberating because I don't have to follow, oh, that's not law accurate. Doesn't matter. Oh, that's not legal. Doesn't matter. Does it look cool? Yeah, that matters. And I've enjoyed doing it. And that's it. So, yeah, it's awful. Let's measure and argue for 3 hours on a table. It's like playing Monopoly, you know, with your family, isn't it? But you know, so anyways, that's where we are. Right, I think these feathers have got to go. Oh, that's such a shame. I really like those. Let's just trim these off. Sorry, boys. That's a bit of a shame. But again, this is why, you know, I would rather find this out now that I can't use this bit, rather than when I painted it all up and then need to clip it and respray it, and or even worse, strip it. So let's just remove these bits. And there we go. Let's just trim those off. Like, again, it doesn't need to be perfect, but let's just get that there. It does need to be one of those things, unfortunately, because when the arms are actually on, I'll see he's going to sit about there. However, again, I do really like all the cloth on this guy. I think it's going to look great painted up, especially in the Deathwing colours. It's so no, come back. It's, I think that's the beauty of kit bashing. I think if you have the patience for it, it's really, really, you can obviously, you know, make something really unique and special. And I do find sometimes if you are looking to kit bash stuff, if you're going law accurate, you are then confined to that, which means it's then hard to kind of look past it and move on from it, because you're constantly like, oh, well, he can't actually use that weapon, or he can't carry both of those at once. And it's like, yeah, that's great and all, but doesn't it look cool? So I think that's definitely where the hobby for me is very different. Let's just pop this on. I'm determined to get this guy blue tacked together so we can at least see him in some capacity looking as he should. Like that. Obviously he doesn't have his shoulder pads on. What I will do, I will oh, it's fallen off. I will pop some where's that? Oh no, it's fallen off. Oh, for poop's sake. I might have to glue that around the back. Okay. I might have to run out and get some blue tack tomorrow, blue tack him and pop up some pictures. But there he is next to the other guy. Again, I think he's oh shit, he hasn't got a shield. Well, this changes everything. Hang on just a minute. We might need to mount a shield on the back. Do you know what? I'm sitting there thinking, something looks a little bit different here. I kind of go a little lower on the sword though. Well, that's it. I think with it, I want the cloth to kind of be hanging level. I don't want it to be going inwards, because I think that looks a little bit odd. So I definitely think doing it this way, where he's kind of got like the sword arm up, like he is just wiping it, looking at someone going, yeah, you're next, boy, is the way to go. But we need a shield. Now, I've already thought about this. We're not using the Blade Guard shield for this one, because I'm saving that. Spoilers. I'm going to save it for my the Ravenwing guy. You'll see what I mean when we come to do it. I think I'm going to do that one on Sunday. But is it this one or that one? that one. So I've actually done one of these already, where I've kind of carved away the actual arm. Obviously, these are from the original Deathwing Knights guys. This one has the little ribbony thing with the Deathwing symbol on, which I think is a no-brainer. Now, when it comes to cutting stuff away, it's little and often. Because we're going to need to kind of reshape this as we want to, what we're going to have to do is just kind of cut away a bit at a time. Just kind of, we don't want to, what happens, why plastic does this is a great example, is it stresses the plastic when you cut really close to it. Like when you cut stuff on a sprue, when you get that little white mark, it's because Games Workshop always tells you to put your hobby clippers flat against like the part you're doing and nip it off. And sometimes, yeah, it works if the nippers are really, really sharp and stuff like that. But after a while, everything goes blunt. When you build Gundams and stuff like that, what you're supposed to do, let me see if I can find like an odd bit like this here. I'll show you what I mean. So we've got this cool little, like, I don't know, rocket thing here. I'll show you on both parts. If I put that right up to it and clip it, you can see it kind of like leaves like a bit of a white mark. What you're actually supposed to do is actually cut the gate, this is what they're called, gates, further apart like this, and then trim it. And what it does is it doesn't rip the plastic, so it actually becomes really, really smooth, as opposed to like here. You hear that? That's because it's actually ripped the plastic as opposed to being dead smooth. So a little tip for you. That's how you avoid them little divots and stuff like that. Yeah, you can trim them up and stuff like that, but what actually tends to happen, it rips up and that middle bit comes out. So you see it a lot of time on swords, you see it a lot of time on Space Marine shoulder pads, where it's attached to the side. People have put their clippers next to it and cut it, and it's actually ripped that gate out, and it's, you know, so anyway, little hobby tip for you there. But so what I try and do with this is just little bits at a time. Some bits are going to be slightly unavoidable, and we are going to need to kind of re-put that shape in of his arm. So just keep at it. We might have to file some bits still, you know. But then what we can do is we can actually, oh, that's a big old bit there. We can mount this on his, there, on his backpack. I think that'll look pretty cool. Yeah, definitely, let's do it. Well, originally I was kind of like, maybe I'll give him a Mace of Absolution. Like, it's still a power weapon, right? But I got to admit, I do just like that cloth, and I was determined to use this one. I love this sculpt with the cloth. I think it's wicked. Like, it looks like it's proper cocky, innit? Like, you know, which you expect of a Space Marine. So I was determined to use it. Yeah, that's why that happened. So if you want a better finish, don't get me wrong, if you're doing loads of troops, don't worry about it. But that's just a little tip. One of the first things I noticed was watching like Warhammer videos, and they were like, push it flat up against it. And obviously from Gundams, building Gundams and that, I was like, well, that's not right. You'll stress the plastic out. And lo and behold, you know, once again, it's fine if your clippers are dead sharp, you get away with it. But anything, you know, as soon as they start to go blunt and that, yeah. German and sanding, absolutely. Depending how much time you put into it is the finish you're going to get out of it at the end of the day. So yeah, leaning on his leg, where you can easily pick it back up. Ooh, okay. What do you mean? Like when you say leg wise, what like it's a bit big. I mean, I suppose I could do it like it looks like it's in the sand, like he's stuck it down. Now, I do my guys, as you can see, on like a desert base. Now, what I could do is I could completely sand the inside of this and stick the shield in it. to make it look like he's plonked his shield down, wiped it, and then pick it back up. The only thing I will need to do is I will need to add a handle to it. How am I going to do that? Interesting. I wonder. Right, let's just get this out of here first and clean up the back of it, and then we'll worry about the details. Hang on, because now you're getting the old brain going, which I like. See, this is why I like doing the lives, because you get all these cool ideas that maybe I wouldn't have thought of, just to go, well, why don't you do it like this? And then we can kind of go through it and see how it looks together. I like that. So what I am going to do now, I'm just going to start taking this out. Again, little and often, a little bit at a time, for those that have, kind of never done this before. And then we can just kind of almost like scrape it out in layers. What I want to do is try and leave that middle bit there, because if I do need to add a handle to it, it's going to look better, I think. The only thing with doing a handle is then it's now exposed. Or watch for in the dark. Oh, shut the front door. Kalitos, you get a fucking house point. Right, hang on. I'll tell you what I've got here. Where is it? Now, if you go over to the new Dark Angel sprue, you kind of get this little cool guy who's holding a book. But much like the little Diddy one that used to hold the sword, do we all remember him? What I could do is I could actually mount him on a little 25mm March. Because you can never have too many watchers. Like this guy is, I could put him there and he could just be holding the shield. And I think I could kind of put him like this. Oh yes, that's a wicked idea. Let's grab his little hand. And that way I get to keep that really cool fancy looking book, which is always a good thing. And I've actually got 2 of these as well, so it's not like I still can't build the other one, which is pretty damn cool. Let's just... Right, so he goes like... If you listen really hard enough, you'll actually hear my youngest kid singing downstairs. It's amazing. How does this go? Is it this way? That looks like his sleeve there. I think it's like this, isn't it? Okay, right. Okay, no, I am aware. What you can do is just put that there. There. So that's supposed to go flat against his... It's like this. Okay. Come and watch the grown man struggle with a tiny bit of bloody plastic. Oh, Jesus Christ, Rob. What are you doing? Like that. How on earth does that... Is it? Is it like that? Nope. Nope. maybe it goes up like this. Jesus Christ, how on earth do you get this to kind of attach? My God. The biggest challenge of the night is fuck, this goes together. I thought I just glue his little arm on. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm going to have to get the bloody instructions now, aren't I? Right, bear with. Oh, it's not even for that, it's for that. What an absolute dingus. It goes there like that. Right, okay. So what you do, let's just glue this in, because that's not going to affect anything. I thought it would have been the other side, but apparently not. If we... let's just glue him as he should, because if it doesn't work, then what we can do is we can just give this guy the book anyway, and I can build him. But if I kind of do it like that, and you won't really see that flat bit there, the only thing I have to be careful of is his, oh, maybe like that. I can put it like there, so he's carrying it. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. However, I think this is gonna, we might have to jiggle this guy around. Grab a blade guard base to check if he will fit with the blade. If not, I'll just put him on a 25mm in front of him and just be like, oh, whatever, don't matter. If he's on a 40 regardless, the only thing where I'm more leaning to have him separate is I don't like when the miniatures are right back. I like them to be centered. In which case, it would be tight. I'm not going to lie if he was at the back. One thing I'm not too keen is bits hanging over. So I'll probably do a 40mm and then like a 20mm or 25 for this guy, so he can have him. He can just sit there in front of it. It doesn't matter. Looks like he's following him around, and it looks like I've got more watchers than and all, which is pretty cool. Let's do that. I do think I've got just here. I'm sure that's the right size. That's a 25. Yep. So we can just, what I'll do is I'll attach him with a bit of super glue. I'm getting all excited now. I'm rushing because I'm like, damn, that's a good idea. That is a sterling idea, sir. I like that. Do you know, I always forget these. So it's nice that you've gone, actually. So let's just pop him in the middle. We'll put him more towards the front, ever so slightly. Because I'm not sure if I might just turn him as well a little bit. Like that. I think watchers, I wish there were more watchers available in the Dark Angels range. Considering they're supposed to be like, you know, kind of everywhere watching everyone. There's like 3 or 4, which is a bit sad. I like the ones that came with the lion though. That was good. Honestly, that's a wicked idea. That's so cool. And we're just going to have him kind of like holding the shield. We'll probably have it up a bit more like that. If I need to file this bit flat, I will, but then you're not going to see the rest of it. Let's just sort this out. And just kind of what I'd like to do, that's it, is carve it like this. But I want to keep this bit dead flat. And then I think on me I had like a little file thing, but I don't know what I've done with it. Do you know when you see stuff and you pick it up and you go, blimey, I'm having that? I think it's like my kid's little nail file thing. It's a bit spongy thing. Do you think I can find what I've done with it? Absolutely not. Honestly. It's like 2 models for the price of 1. Oh, God. And plus, I think it's going to look cool. Like, that's cool. Let's just carve that away. Sorry if I'm not talking. I'm just trying not to slice my fingers off. It's always honestly, I pick this stuff and I go, that's really, really handy. I swear, my God, kids come in here, take stuff and just never put it back. Like, I don't mind, but, you know, it'd be nice if, you know, occasionally it was back where I left it. It's, well, perks of having a kid, really, isn't it? Let's just, where's my, that one. So let's just file this. This shouldn't take long. We just want this side to be flat. The nice thing about these swords is they curve downwards, but the point still stays that way, so you can kind of just go straight with it, and it's not like you have to kind of like file in the curvature, which is you know, a big win, if I'm honest with you. Okay, we're nearly there. Oh, okay, I think that will probably do. Again, we're not really going to see too much of the inside of it. The only thing we'll do is kind of straighten this edge out a bit to give it a bit more definition. And then what we can do is, where that little lump is there, we can actually rest that against his kind of bit there, like that. Maybe like that. Kind of cool. Or we have it resting. What do you reckon? Look like he's holding it, or rest? I think resting is probably going to be better. We want it to kind of be like that, I reckon. Like there. What I might do is might notch out a little bit on there and then file this. So let's grab, where's the good old, the aggressive one? So let's just file this. We're going to have to check this a little bit at a time. Now, I think the problem is these cables here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not actually going to remove these two, just in case you can see them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get these. I'm going to nip that section out. Because I think it's stopping the arm from sitting dead flush. So then, oh, yeah, that's better. So now we can put him kind of like that. He's going to need a little bit of tweaking because we want that to be there. So I think if we just really, really gently, how am I going to do this? Just there. Just notch this kind of section out here, because that's where the, just like that. I think this is, yeah, it's moving. Okay. that's not great, is it? Let's just put that back in. And then just push that back in there. Oh, like that. And then we should, with that little notch that we've taken out, see, I'm going to be really careful. Yeah, that will sit in there like that, and that will rest against him there. It might need a little bit more filing. I might actually end up finishing this guy off tomorrow because I want that arm to set really, really overnight so I can file that section away. So what I will do, yeah, it just needs a little bit more just there. If we look at it this way, we can see that I need to file it at a slight angle just here on his cuff, and that's where the edge of the shield. I like doing the purple ones. The lion's got purple. I'm tempted to do this more traditional green, only purely because I think it'll complement the bone really, really well. Obviously, he'll be in front of him a lot of the time, or like when he's displayed. I think it's definitely the right way to go. So that's definitely it. Let's just chuck that down there. There's a few bits I kind of want to, I mean, I don't have Azrael yet. I do want to pick him up. I'd like to do Asmodai. I'd like to just redo Ezekiel, because I was really sure he was going to get redone when the Dark Angels had their, should we name, yeah, absolutely, name the Watcher, 100%. What we calling this guy? Best name win. Go on, throw out your suggestions for the little Watcher with the shield. I think, yeah, he just needs a little bit more just taken off him. It needs to go a bit more at an angle. Tell you what I might be able to do. Just take that off. Like that. Without using the file. And then that'll be there. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. With I just need to wait for this arm to set so I can file in the angle that the shield will actually be going at. And with Barry, Bastion, Max, Barry. Well, I'd like to go with Montague Witherbum, because I think having a surname makes him that more special. But place your votes in a Barry. But always reminds me of, obviously from the UK, did anybody watch Misfits? The Channel 4 drama about the kids that get superpowers. No, Ballsack. We can't call him that. We can't call him that. No, he deserves better than Ballsack. It always reminds me of the Irish kid Nathan, who always called Simon Barry. Save me, Barry! Which was just fantastic. But just like that, that's such a good idea. That's wicked. I say, he's going to have the shield just about there. Everything else will glue in quite nicely. That'd be great. It's a shame we couldn't have done it like mounted on his back like he's lugging it around, but Ballsack the Wise. We might as well just call him Ballsack the Hairy. We can't do that to the poor guy. Balzac. I mean, if anyone wants Balzac, I'd say between Balzac and Barry is pretty cool names. Let's go. I'll ask my wife if we can't make a decision. I'm not going to ask my kids. Do you want me to? Should Daddy call him Ballsack? Yeah, no, it's not happening. They already think I'm cringe enough. So I love it. I think this is so good. I never thought about using a Watcher. Look at that. It's great. He's going to look so good. Once he's blue tacked together, this guy's gonna look so good, especially with the shoulder pads, because they'll add a bit more kind of like girth to him, and I think that's gonna be, yeah. Look at him, he looks great. I love it. Can we see that? And then with his big back banner and Balzac the Wise. Barry. I've always thought, like, you know, I love like Space Marines and stuff like that, because it's like, it's Balthazar, it's Titus, it's Azrael, but like, where's Philip Smith? You know, where are the really, really mundane? Where's Graham? Graham McNeil. There we go. Or maybe he's Spicy. Maybe he's got a double barried surname. I always thought like the mundane stuff is what really, really draws me in. And it's like, if my humour is ever kind of wrapped around something, think like British comedy of Vic and Bob and stupid names they would just give stuff. It is just ridiculous. James Workshop. Absolutely not. Can't stand that guy. Right. And plus, the real James Workshop works in the Stone Store. That's the OG James. We were calling him James Workshop long before Games Workshop came out with all that rubbish. But yeah, I like it. Oh, I think he's cool. And I think the other thing as well, he's gonna complement this guy. Like, they don't look out of place next to each other, and I like that. Yeah, that's one of my day. Yes. Can't wait to see him painted. Thank you. Well, look, what I'm going to do is, I think on Sunday will be the last one. I will, obviously, I would have liked to have kind of got him blue tack. You kind of get the idea. He's going to look, you know, like that. And then, you know, Balzac Barry the Wise here is gonna be lugging his hefty shield around for him. I might actually neaten this up just a little touch more off camera, maybe tomorrow, and I'll put some pictures up on my community tab, so do stay tuned for that. Sunday I'll be back. We're going to do the Raven Wing guy on Sunday, which I'm really looking forward to. I've got some really, really cool ideas on how to do him. I actually can't wait for the Raven Wing guy. Honestly, I'm so excited about this one. But look, I am going to go because it is cracking on to 9 o'clock now. What scheme are you going with? Well, obviously he's going to be a Dark Angel, he's going to be a Deathwing, he's going to be a Raven Wing. When I do my Raven Wing, I actually do them a very, very dark green, as you see here. But what I do is I do the highlights of my Dark Angels. So, you know, up to Warpstone Glow. And obviously he's got the bone, and because he's in Ravenwing Knight, he'll have the yellow. So he's going to be a really, really dark green colour, the Ravenwing guy. I got to admit, not a fan of painting dark colours. I actually find them a bit more challenging, things like yellows and whites, which I actually feel really comfortable painting. Dark stuff is, but I'm glad I've only got to do the one of them. So there we go. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to leave the video there. I know he doesn't look quite done. Obviously, when we finished the last guy, we were able to kind of, get a real good look at him with the shield, which is great. Obviously, they are all going to have 3 very, very different shields. A little cheeky teaser, if you will. But yeah, so look, join me on Sunday. I'll put a community post up tomorrow about this guy. I'll try and get him tacked together so we can have a bit of a look at him. And then on Sunday, we'll be back to do a Raven Wing. And yeah, that's it. Look, thanks to everyone that has popped in to the chat. It's been 2 hours. Jesus Christ, 2 fucking hours. Everyone that's just helped out with the ideas. Amazing. Thank you so much. This guy, I think, is my new favourite thing. He's going to look so cool. I can't wait to kind of get these guys done. But yeah, Sunday, I'll put a time up during the day and I will do my best to stick with it. Obviously, with kids, it's always not as easy, but I will do my best to be kind of like on time and punctual. But look, again, thanks to everyone. Obviously, you know, I always say it's a privilege to have you spend your evening. Let me spend my evening with you, not the other way around. You've taken your time out to be here and chat and watch and stuff like that, and it is very, very appreciative. So, you know, thank you to everyone that has kind of let me have some of their time today, and we, you know, all together. But yes, thanks. I'll see you Sunday. Brilliant. Stay tuned for a little short and some pictures, and I will see you all next time. God bless and take care. Bye bye. Watchers in the tube. Oh, stop it. Bye.